best interest of Dominica. I further assert the point in respect to what Mr. Bernard Ito mentioned. There have been reports of certain confirmation centers being associated with activities of the Dominica Labour Party. We must be careful that in our actions at that level of the confirmation process, that we do not appear to be biased, and we do not create doubts in the minds of Dominicans. After all, this is a confirmation process which should be fair and transparent. And just the mere appearance of the meddling of the Dominican Labour Party in the confirmation process has demoralized a number of Dominicans, such that some are saying they will not go to certain centers to confirm because they have been so injured by the Dominican Labour Party over the years. There are many Dominicans who continue to suffer, resulting from the failures of this government. And they have taken this confirmation process very personal. Whilst some of us may be affected and we are discouraged to confirm to vote, I want to lend support to both other political leaders here this morning that all Dominicans should confirm to vote. I myself, I made it a duty to confirm to vote, and I must say that the process was simple. The process was simple. And if anybody would have a problem, feel free to contact an attorney or contact the Chief Elections Officer, who I've had several conversations with in respect to some of these concerns which have been mentioned here today. So all in all, the call is for Dominicans to take this very seriously, to not wait for the last minute. We have a country to build. We have a country to save. We want to advance our cause. We want every Dominican to enjoy a better life. We want to elevate the standard of living. We want to increase the value of our democracy, our institutions, especially the Electoral Commission, which constitutionally is supposed to be independent. So, let us take this very seriously. If you have not confirmed to vote, please make it a duty. Find out where is your confirmation center. Walk with your valid ID and get confirmed. But I will go on further to say that please check on your brothers and sisters to ensure that they confirm to vote. And if there is a neighbor, a friend, or family member who does not have an ID, please talk to one of us to see how we can facilitate an ID for that person to confirm to vote, whilst the Electoral Commission further consider its decision in preventing the use of birth certificate for the purpose of confirmation. This is the full extent of my contribution. I'm hoping maybe Curtis will have a question when we come to the question and answer section. He likes to ask questions. I'm hoping that he will ask us questions to benefit the average Dominican and all the other media personnel here. So once again, thank you and a pleasant day to Dominica.
All right, thank you very much, Brother Joshua Francis, the leader of the United Progressive Party in Dominica. Just to reiterate the point that was made before by Josh, Mr. Carlos Charles, leader of Team Unity Dominica, was also contacted. He's not here in flesh today, but he endorsed fully what is transpiring here today. Let me take this opportunity once again to thank the listeners of Q95 at this time and all the other radio stations, if they're listening. MO News, thank you very much for your very arduous work. DNO, you're represented here. Thank you very much as well. Just to say here before I open the floor for some questions, all of what we have said here today will be put in a letter form and will be sent across to both the Electoral Office and also Commission for basically addressing some of the points that these three leaders address here today in terms of just trying to tweak, trying to amend, trying to rectify some of the issues that are confronting us as a people as we go through the confirmation process. We don't say much more. I think we have 5 more minutes of live time. So questions, comments from the media. Welcome.
Two questions. Mr. Francis, you spoke earlier as to, if you have any problems, you should refer to the chief election officer to have her corrected. But she's one of the problems some persons have identified. So you cannot speak to somebody who may not be able to speak to your concern. And secondly, how far, I heard Mr. Thompson Fountain, Dr. Fountain speaking to all that, this must stop. Are you guys willing to file an injunction to correct the process? I'm talking to three of you on the table. How far are you prepared to go to stop this?
Well,
An injunction, maybe?
I certainly think an injunction should be on the table. I don't think any options are off the table. Once we fully explore the legal implications of this and we fully explore the law and have some legal conversations with the right people, and an injunction is justified, I believe an injunction will be filed, should be filed, and most likely will be.
Dr. Fountain?
Just to add that the threat to our democracy is such that nothing should be off the table. No option should be off the table, including legal challenges, including civil disobedience, including agitation to Dominicans here, international bodies overseas. In other words, we are throwing everything at this because we understand, as I said in my presentation, that this is a sinister plot by this administration. You know, something that could be done so simply, something that could be done without anybody even realizing it is done, and be successful. Why it is that this administration is going through so much lengths to ensure that they disenfranchise a significant portion of the Dominican population. And that is the question the Dominican public should be asking themselves. And as such, we should not limit our responses to that affront to democracy in Dominica.
Okay, I have a question. So specifically for Mr. Ito, you mentioned the principle of continuation and specifically under sort of administrative continuity, right? I wanted to know, because some of my questions have already been answered, but specifically about that principle, what legal basis do you believe you have in terms of a case? More specifically, are you looking to ground your legal challenge around that principle you mentioned? And if not a legal challenge, what is your sort of tact in terms of getting that particular thing across? It sounded like something in substance.
Yes, I would couch it less as a legal challenge because this is more of an administrative principle, good governance principle, administrative practice in bureaucratic enterprises, and just good governance principles. So it's not necessarily a legal challenge, but the question is, the assertion was made that this is for best practice, right? That this revision from SRO 27 to SRO 29, 39, was that it facilitated best practice. The argument was made, we looked around and we want to implement best practice in Dominica. But that best practice violates what is standard best administrative practice. So in the context of that, we have a contradiction and we have a violation of the principle that they're trying to use to justify this. So in that context is what is couched. It's also, if you look at the Commonwealth best practices in terms of what is recommended, it clearly says there's several clauses that addresses that a voter should not face a higher obstacle barrier to get confirmed or refreshed or whatever term you want to use versus the original process that they went to get on those lists and get registered in the first place. So if the argument is we are going after international best practice, then they are clearly violating several best practices that are universally applied. And the best practice of saying, well, America requires such and such ID, violates the principle of common sense. You have to do, as was mentioned, as we've discussed, what makes sense in your context, in your society. And to require that high level of documentation in Dominica's context is a violation of common sense and absolutely is not best practice. So simply them throwing the term best practice around, we are showing several instances where they are violating the principle of what is common sense and what is international best practice in terms of administrative procedures as well as Commonwealth practice.
Yes.
Greetings everyone, to the head table. Very commendable the efforts that you have executed here today. Of course, with the collective objective of ensuring a free and fair system. I'm not so sure if this is a question or rather a comment, but it borderlines along that. I've been reliably informed that there are members of parliament and operatives of the Dominica Labour Party that are threatening interns of the NEP, in such case notably within the Saliba constituency, and in saying so, saying that if they do not get confirmed, that they will be fired or removed forthwith from the National Employment Program. So what I see is in the usual format of the DLP utilizing its National Employment Intern Support Base to just continue to justify its claim to power. So I just thought that you want to be mindful of and aware of that as well.
Thank you for your question. Yes, Mr. Charles.
Yeah, good morning to everybody. Of course, warm good morning to the head table, and I must compliment the leaders of the various political parties. They have articulated the issues that I believe that people need to, know about. Another issue, and again, it's not a question, but more so a comment, which is important. For example, you have a community in the Roseau Valley like Mont Prospect. Mont Prospect, as we know, have been, doing your registration and all of that in Mont Prospect. On the list that was presented for confirmation, Mont Prospect Primary School was mentioned, and it is listed as a place to go confirmed. All of a sudden, that has been extinguished and it no longer exists. I have a problem with that because you cannot tell me that the people of Mont Prospect have to normally, elderly people, and in the same discussion, to go to Trafalgar and or Loda to get confirmed. To me, that is what you call political windball. That's an off-break. Because we all know that Mont Prospect has been supporting, is a great supporter of the opposition. We know that. So what do you do to them? You send them somewhere else to confirm. And I believe all those things need to be rectified, and that person should have access to be able to easily go to confirm, because that in itself, that process must be adopted. All right? Thank you. Just a comment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Charles.
Yeah, if I can just respond to this.
Yeah, I was just going to tell Mr. Charles that the West Indies team is in need of your expertise, Charles. I need an off-breaker.
Yeah.
Thank you, I'm Thompson, yes.
Yeah, this is exactly why I said in my presentation that we're looking at Chapter 2 of the DLP's how to steal an election. When you have examples like this, these naked examples of trying to disenfranchise an entire village, knowing full well that if you put an onerous condition on them, most likely they will not. And most likely they are probably a supporter of the United Workers' Party, and therefore do not impact the government. That is what we are talking about. When you turn Labour Party offices into confirmation centers is another. When you hire across Dominica, the only people you can find to be enrollment officers, the Labour Party operatives, is a third. This is wrong. These are the problems that we are facing. We have people today who are refusing to go into Labour Party offices to confirm. And again, we are calling upon the electoral office to change those centers and also to make sure that every single village in Dominica has a place to register. It is not fair. You are putting a burden that is deliberate, and that is why we continue to insist that the electoral office has taken the side of the Dominica Labour Party. And having said that, let me just say a big thank you to the two commissioners, Mr. Wayne James and Mr. Hilary Shiniford, who continue to fight so valiantly against all of the pressures to ensure that common sense prevails and that we have a commission that acts on behalf of the people. But the Dominican public should not sit back and take this lightly. Dominica is happening right before our eyes. Read the book, read the chapter. It is happening before our eyes, and we have to make everything within our powers to ensure that we prevent this occurrence from going
Thank
forward.
you.
Dr. Fontaine, good afternoon to you. What then is we've heard your concerns, what then is your message to supporters of the UWP as far as the confirmation process is concerned? What do you say to these supporters at this time?
What I say to my supporters is that those who can, those who have the IDs to go ahead and confirm, we support the confirmation process. That's the law of the land. We support it. So we want to encourage those who are able to do so. But bearing in mind, as I said, a significant number of our supporters are not able to do it. A significant number of our supporters in one prospect cannot now go or refuse to go to Trafalgar to register. So what we're telling our supporters is that we'll continue to fight to reinstate the birth certificate, but until then, they should be encouraged to support the confirmation process.
All right, any more comments, questions from the media? Okay, Mr. Francis?
Yes,
We'll take about one or two comments and kind of bring it to a close.
right. I wanted to respond to the comment emanating from the Kalinago territory in respect to persons being threatened to confirm by Labour Party operatives. Let me say that every Dominican has a constitutional right to decide whether he or she wishes to confirm. And no force, no person, no entity, no political party has the right to cause somebody to confirm under duress, force, or undue influence. And should any Dominican find himself in such a situation, be at liberty to contact myself and any other right-thinking leader in Dominica who will stand for your cause. If you have been facilitated to confirm, ensure it is voluntarily. For those who do not have a national valid ID and you are getting assistance to do so, for example, if a Labour Party operative visits your home and says he or she is going to assist you to get one of these valid IDs, it is okay. But in getting an assistance does not mean that you have a leash around your neck and you must
No. So the confirmation process should be as easy as possible to confirm, because once you're on the list, you're way past 18, okay? So in that case, I think we will continue to push it on because we believe it's an important issue, not a partisan issue. It's an issue of liberty, it's an issue of democracy, and it's an issue of a united Dominican. If we go to the point where I confirm my people because I have resources, and you find resources to confirm your people, We are just dividing the people into partisanship, and that is not good for our country. So again, thank you so much. I thank the leaders very, very especially for showing up and the presentation made by them. Excellent presentation. And I hope the people of Dominica will recognize it, not as UWP, Freedom, or the UPP, but of course as we, as a people, working together for common sense to prevail in our democracy. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
This was the ERC presenting the issues, challenges surrounding the confirmation process. This one was once again brought to you by Emily for being and for joining.